What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. Today we are going to be looking at the top transfer portal players in college football heading into the 2024 season. Today we are just going to be looking at quarterbacks. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe on the channel. Let's get into the video. First transfer we're going to be talking about is Malachi Nelson, committed to USC and now transferring to Boise State. As a high school prospect, he was the number 13 overall player in his class. Now coming into Boise State, obviously not a super huge program, but he's a very talented player who didn't get a ton of time at USC to really showcase what he can do. Obviously, sitting behind Caleb Williams, he is tall, he's 6'3", he's lean, very long arm, a very fluid thrower of the ball. Uh, a lot of the high school scattering reports compared him to a guy like Jordan Love, who you see a super well-rounded NFL quarterback in the NFL now. Malachi Nelson reminds these guys a lot of him. Um, Very athletic, can extend the play, pocket passer, but also can run. We'll see how he does at Boise State. Reminds me of a guy like Keaton Slovis, who was a huge prospect, who just kind of bounced around until he found the fit that he liked the most. Um, Ending up at BYU, but Malachi Nelson could play one season at Boise State. I expect him to transfer one more time after this year to another Power 5 school and try to get his draft stock higher and higher each season. Here's a guy, Tyler Van Dyke, who has really improved his stock throughout his college career, coming into college as a 3-star prospect, now a 4-star transfer to Wisconsin from Miami. A very decently productive season with Miami. Not a very talented team, but he did a lot with the tools that he had. He's got a very good frame that allows him to stand confidently in the pocket, regardless of the pressure. Was a very good pitcher in baseball, actually. It reminds you of guys like Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, even. But you see a lot of guys like that have very smooth touch on their throws, which, accuracy is something that he excels at. But he does actually have very sneaky mobility to him. We'll see how he does at Wisconsin. Wisconsin is in a very unique situation, kind of transferring from a run-heavy offense to more of a balanced attack. Tyler Van Dyke could be a guy that really helps that. That's what they said about Tanner Mordecai, which didn't really pan out super well. But Tyler Van Dyke, I think, is a much better player than Tanner Mordecai is. So we're going to see how he performs. And maybe they don't go with him as a starter. They got a lot of options at quarterback in Wisconsin, but I think it would be very weird if they didn't start Tyler Van Dyke. Kyle McCord, obviously Ohio State, a ton of movement in the transfer portal, both out but mostly in. Kyle McCord was very productive with them, putting up a very solid season. He's going to be transferring to the Syracuse Orange, a big-bodied guy, 6'3", 215. As a prospect, was the number 8 overall quarterback in his class. He's a very wide quarterback. Obviously, like I said, very good height at 6'3", but he's got a very strong arm and he's very accurate. Throws a very tight spiral, very poised under pressure, which we saw in a lot of their games. Not really the type of quarterback that Ohio State usually uses, which is maybe why he is moving out. I think it's tough as an Ohio State fan or an Ohio State quarterback when you don't, accomplish the expectations that Ohio State has for their team. But regardless, he's got a very quick release, good arm angle, fits balls into very tight windows, consistency. He can throw accurate well on the run. Overall, very complete quarterback. And with a team like Syracuse and a very scarce amount of talent in the ACC, you could see him take that team to the next level and win that conference and maybe make the playoff now that it's expanded. Riley Leonard was another huge move after the season from Duke, transferring over to Notre Dame. This guy reminds me a lot of Josh Allen, very big-bodied, powerful runner, huge arm. He's going to be a very big difference maker for Notre Dame. Like I said in a previous video, Notre Dame has a very easy schedule this year. They can easily make it to the college football playoff, barring any crazy upsets, which happens every year. You never know. But as a prospect, was a three-star, not super great, 60th ranked quarterback, obviously going to Duke. Now he is obviously everyone knows that he has a lot of talent. He demonstrates a lot of that touch and feel that I talked about with McCord as well as Tyler Van Dyke. Um, but he's a very athletic quarterback, which you can see in his tape. He runs all around the field. He extends plays. He throws under pressure. He makes some very acrobatic throws. He's a very talented quarterback, and I think Notre Dame is getting a very good player here. The more I watch him, the more I like him. The stats obviously didn't jump out, but being at Duke, it's kind of hard to perform to that higher level of play that you expect from a college quarterback with such great tools. I expect him to take a big jump with the talent that he's going to have at Notre Dame. Next up is going to be Will Rogers. He is transferring from Mississippi State to Washington. This is a guy that has had a very unfortunate situation. 2021 and 2022 was incredible at Mississippi State. 2021 had 4,700 yards and 36 touchdowns. Um, Yeah, I mean, the talent is there. He's a very productive college quarterback. 2022, obviously not as productive as a season as his prior season, but 2023, suffering a shoulder injury on his throwing shoulder. Not ideal, but allows for one more season to really prove his ability to produce as a quarterback. So he's transferring over to Washington. It's an interesting situation there, obviously with Kalen DeBoer taking them to the national championship and then leaving for Alabama. I'm I'm interested to see how that offense and that team is going to look with so many players purging because of the head coach leaving, but obviously a lot of players coming in with a new head coach. Will Rogers is going to have an interesting season. I think he's still going to produce at a very high level, but obviously, given his 2021 and 2022 season, we know that he has the ability to be a very talented quarterback, and he could be a difference maker in Washington's first season in the Big Ten. Next up on the list is going to be Cam Ward, coming from Wazoo, Washington State, coming to Miami. Cam Ward, as a prospect, was unranked, no stars. He is now a four-star, number 4 overall quarterback in this transfer portal. Just an incredible story. This guy, obviously, going from Incarnate Ward to Wazoo, now to Miami. This guy is like every kid's dream, coming from this small college, going to a bigger one, and now some of the most hype out of any quarterback transfer this season. Um, there's not a lot on him. He's been an incredible pocket passer. He tore apart Wisconsin's defense back-to-back seasons, and he elevated this Washington State team to levels that no one expected them to be at in a very competitive Pac-12. Started super hot this past season, cooled off, but he has the talent to elevate this Miami team to a new level as well. So I'm excited to see the difference he makes in Miami. Next up is Uyunglele. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what my research told me is how to pronounce his name. 6'4", 250 pounds, huge-bodied quarterback. Obviously started his career at Clemson, transferred into Oregon State where he was a lot more productive. Now at Florida State in his senior season, This guy, as a high school prospect, was the number 2 overall player in the entire country, 101 grade on 24/7 Sports. The guy is obviously the ideal size for a quarterback. Very incredible arm strength, just didn't really put it together at Clemson. And like I said, was a lot more productive at Oregon State. I'm excited to see him at Florida State with a team that just narrowly missed out on the playoff, a team that should have made the playoff. I'm excited to see where he takes them. He obviously has a ton of talent, um, but he just needs to put it together. I mean, a lot of it boils down to reading defenses, and the IQ that you have as a quarterback is a crucial aspect of the game. And if he puts it all together, he obviously has unlimited potential. So I'm excited to see what he does at Florida State. Could be a sleeper for maybe uh, a Heisman pick. I mean, it'd be a dark horse, but you could see it happen realistically. Next up on the list is Dante Moore, quarterback from UCLA transferring to Oregon. This is another guy similar to DJO, I'm going to call him, or DJU, I'm sorry. Similar to DJU in that he was a uh, generational high school prospect, 100 grade on 24/7, number 4 overall recruit nationally. Just didn't start at UCLA. So he's transferring to Oregon, where he is going to not start because of Dillon Gabriel. Obviously has the size, he has the arm talent. I'm excited to see him actually get a chance eventually, but obviously that's not going to be this next season. Oregon is a place where quarterbacks have been known to excel. You look at guys like Marcus Mariota, Bo Nix recently, Justin Herbert. So it's a good opportunity for him to really improve his draft stock in the next few years. I'm a big fan of Dante Moore. I wish he went to a place where he would start, but we'll see where he ends up in terms of the depth chart. Maybe he surprises people and beats out Dillon Gabriel. I find it very hard to believe, but Dante Moore is a guy to look out for in the next few years for sure. Obviously, Dante Moore transferred to Oregon. So did Dillon Gabriel. Oklahoma quarterback, super productive in his 2 seasons at Oklahoma. Prior to that, he was at UCF. Now, obviously, sliding into that starting role at Oregon. They want to see him provide that same production that he did at Oklahoma and bring them to the college football playoff. Oregon's probably um, going to face some struggles in the Big Ten to start. I still see them as a top 10, 15 team in the country. Dillon Gabriel is going to be crucial in their season. So obviously has the experience. I think he's 20, 29 at this point. That's a joke. He's only like 24, but still, he's old for a quarterback. He's heading into his 6th season. He's going to set a lot of records this next season, which Bo Nix, I think, set himself this past season at Oregon for most starts, most temps, yards maybe. I don't know. He played so much that it'd be crazy if he didn't have those records. But yeah, Dillon Gabriel sliding into the starting spot at Oregon, he's going to make a big difference. Julian Sayin was another product of the Nick Saban purge, and he's headed to Ohio State like many other Alabama players. Um, Sayin had a very strong senior year in high school. A little small, 6'1", 205 or something like that. He's a very accurate passer, very poised in the pocket, understands um, how to make those timing and anticipation throws very well. Improvision abilities, very, very elite. Throwing on the run, very good. The kind of quarterback that Ohio State loves. As a prospect, he was the number 3 quarterback in the country. Obviously, with Nick Saban leaving, he's headed out as well. He's going to Ohio State, where he won't start right away, obviously, because of Will Howard, but he's going to start not this next season, but the season after that, and you can see the talent for sure, and you can see that like Ohio State prototype, um, prototypical quarterback that they use. Um, there's a duality to his game, but he doesn't lean too heavily on the mobility like Guys like Lamar Jackson in college. Obviously, he's nowhere close to the mobility of Lamar Jackson. That's not what I'm saying. But you look at guys like Jalen Milroe, who are like a pass first mobility kind of guy. That's that's Julian Sand in my eyes. He's a very talented passer, and Ohio State is going to use him as a passer first, and he's going to be able to extend plays and use his legs when necessary. Last quarterback we're going to talk about, last transfer is Will Howard coming from Kansas State to Ohio State. Very productive collegiate career so far. Wasn't a very highly regarded prospect coming out of high school, only 3 stars. Um, Now 4-star transfer coming into the starting role at Ohio State. Again, not really the quarterback you would expect Ohio State to be going after. Um, Feels a lot like Kyle McCord, but with a little more mobility and a less passing skills. Kyle McCord, obviously a fantastic quarterback, just doesn't have the mobility that Ohio State likes in their quarterbacks, which I think Will Howard brings, but with a step back on the passing ability. So obviously, Kansas State doesn't have the talent that Ohio State has. Maybe Will Howard will see a large jump in his passing production, which is what you normally see with Ohio State quarterbacks. Um, you see guys like C.J. Stroud, Dwayne Haskins, RIP, um, J.T. Barrett, Justin Fields. They all put up crazy numbers. Will Howard will most likely do the same, and we will see how he fits. But you like his odds in a situation that he's coming into with the talent that he is going to have around him.